upper end of what we're doing with the Stage 2 and MA Series. So we have 3 customer archetypes that we put out there. So that first system that you heard in there was what we call a soundbar alternative. So again, somebody that's looking for better performance and has never been into a component audio system just because it was too intimidating to do. On the upper end of the range, the HP models in the AVR series are a little more like CI type products, and they've got a lot more advanced features in them. And the price points are a little higher at $1,100 and $1,600. So they're more into kind of this space where we're at in CEDIA. So we wanted to show in here that flagship system of what we could do with this. So this is the top model AVR. It's the MA 9100 HP. So we're configured in a 7.2.2 system in this room. So we're using a combination of the Stage 2 box loudspeakers that were just introduced, as well as the Stage 2 in-wall and ceiling speakers that have been out for about a year now. So we're using the largest tower up at the front. This is the 280F. So it's a dual 8-inch floor standing loudspeaker. We've got the 245C center channel that's there. We have a pair of 12-inch subs. All the AVRs have 2 sub outputs on them. So we're showing 2 12-inch subs in them. And then the rest of the speakers in this room are part of the architectural portfolio. So we're using in-walls for the sides and the rears. That's the 250 WL. And then overhead is a 280 CSA, which is an angled in-ceiling speaker. And we're using that for a dedicated height channels in this room. So this is about, including the architectural side of it and the full-blown, 7.2.2 speaker system, this is about a $5,800 system, somewhere around in there, just shy of $6,000, right? So again, not crazy expensive in the scheme of things, but it is the upper end of what we're doing with the Stage 2 and the MA series. So we're showing in here in a much darker room than what we're doing. So we have the lighter finish, the latte finish that we showed you on the first system. This is the espresso finish, which is a darker, more traditional. But if you were going to do a darkened room, if you want to watch movies and things like that, what we're showing in here is the AVR in its stealth mode. So we've got that big, beautiful display on the front that shows album art and things like that if you're streaming any content to it. But then in stealth mode, we can turn the display off so that when you're watching movies, you don't have to see that big display on it. But when you change anything on it, like if I adjust the volume on it, you'll be able to see what's on the front, and then the display will go back to sleep in it. And we've also got our underglow, the LED underglow that's on these units, which is kind of a cool effect to have in it. So we've got it set to orange right now, but you can choose whatever colors you want to do with it as well. So yeah. So that one's shown at 5645, but what changed is we did the bigger subs. So it's about 5845 what's in there now. We changed from 10s to 12s, and the sign was already printed. So, but that's the full range of the speakers, and that's the darker finish. That's the espresso finish that we did for them. The latte finish was the lighter one you saw in the other room. So
espresso is great. What's her name's got that new espresso song that's like blowing the fuck up, right?
That's Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah. So we've had these before, but this is what's actually in our theater this year. So we're doing 2 synthesis systems in there. We're doing the baby synth system is the 7.4.4 system based off our AVR, synthesis AVR, using all our smaller in-wall speakers. Then we're doing a second larger system that's using the flagship products, because we had these here when we introduced them year before last, but no one's had the chance to really hear them here at the show. So the second system in there is 9.4.6, and it's using these as the LCRs. We've got 2 of these up front for the subs, and then we're using the SCL2 as the surround speakers. So it's 9 channels on the lower level, and then we've got 6 of the SCL5s as the height channels, and then there's a pair of the SSW3 in-wall subs in the back to supplement these. Not that they need a lot of supplement, but we do it with sound field management.
You get a null, what are you going to do?
Well, that's why with 4 channels and sub in there, then we have eliminated most of the nulls in the room. So, but this is one, when people see the picture of it, you have no idea the scale until you put a human beside it, and you're like,
how tall are you, Jim?
6'1".
6'1".
Yeah. So it gives you a little more scale when you see somebody standing next to it. Same thing with those. So, but this thing's a monster. So we can get you into the demo at some point in time here. We're running about every 25 minutes on that. So if we can get you to check out the demo, you'll get to hear both systems when you go in. We do the little system first, play a couple cuts, then we do the big system, a couple cuts, so you can hear what these bad boys do. You'll hear it out here. So
6 or 8?
8250 for each of these. Yeah, it's passive, obviously. You're going to need $5,000 to $10,000 worth of amplifier to go with it. So each driver takes 2,500 watts of power. So these are 6-inch voice coils on them. Each driver is about 90 pounds, just the raw driver. So this sub's about 350 pounds as it sits. It's about 500 pounds in the shipping crate that it comes in. So it's a serious sub. So, and then that's the LCR. That's our flagship LCR that we're using. So lots of patented JBL speaker technology in there. It's got a dual 3-inch compression driver in it, 2 12s. We've got our complementary bass alignment system in here. So this is a very easy load on an amplifier, and we optimize the performance of the speaker. Basically, one of them is ported, one of them is sealed. And then there's a control panel down at the bottom. This allows you to configure the speaker depending on if you're going to have it single wire, bi-wire, or you can do full active external crossover network on it, so you can just go straight into the drivers and bypass the crossover network on it. We've also got a switch here to attenuate the high frequencies depending on what you're doing, if it's behind a screen or if the grill's on, the grill's off, however you want to do it. So it's a very, very cool speaker. A very capable speaker for sure. So we've got that, and we've got some new synthesis amps that are over here that we introduced. So these will be out in the first quarter of next year. Class D power amps specifically designed for synthesis. We've got a 4x750 and an 8x300. They're bridgeable. This bridges to 2x2500. So we've used XLR inputs, binding post terminals, so it's really more designed for residential than the pro amps that we've been using so far. Full suite of DSP on it, so compressor limiters, anechoic speaker EQs. It's Dante ready, AES67 on it. You could put a Dante or an analog input, send it out Dante if you wanted to feed other devices in it. They're ventilated outside, so side to side, so it's quieter in a rack than what we had with the previous amplifiers that we were using. And then a full web interface that you can completely configure it through the web interface on them. So $5,000, $6,000, and those will be in Q1 of next year. Right. Typically, this is going to get used for the lower level and high channel speakers. This one, sometimes LCRs if you want more power for the LCRs, but often subwoofers is where this one will get used. So 4x750, if you wanted to run like 4 of those subs in there, you could do it off that. Or like we said, if you bridge it, then you could run 2 of the big guys. Well, it takes, this bridge runs 1 of those subs because each of those drivers has its own input. So ideally, you'd put 2,500 watts on each woofer, so 5,000 watts total power on the sub, which this will give you in there. So you'd need 2 of these to run 2 of those subs. Yeah, 1 amp per sub, because we always use those in 2s or 4s. And in that case, in that demo system in there, 2 of those, 2 of the in-wall SSW3s are in the back. That's a dual 10-inch in-wall. So we're using these in the back of the room, and we're doing that with sound field management. So the bass is pretty tight in there, pretty even seat to seat. And well, if you're hearing that low frequency right now or the floor vibrating, that's coming out of that theater. It's pretty serious bass and pretty serious output too. We've got our reference theater that we have back on the Northridge campus. We have 2 of those in the front, and we have 8 of these in the back of the room in there. But in that room in there, we're down to the low teens with usable output, so around 13 hertz or so in that room of pretty serious impact. And it's visceral when you listen to it. And you'll hear it if you sit in this demo, it's a pretty visceral bass response in there that you're going to get. So outside of that, again, ARCAM Radia stuff's new if you want to check that out. We have a couple of missing boxes that were there, but the first phase products that we did, that was the London launch event. So we did 3 integrated amps and then 2 digital source players. So you can start off with the A5 with the CD player is there, the A15 with the ST5 streamer is here, then the A25 is there. In the second phase, we have a step-up streamer that's got a beautiful 6.5-inch color display on the front of it, and that will be paired with that when it shows up, hopefully later today. And then there's 2 integrated amps with high-res streaming built in. So this is one of them, which did make it here safely. So we have this with the Beryllium towers. This is the 226BE. And then this is the SA35, which is the lower of the 2 new integrated amps, but it has full high-res streaming integrated into it, big, beautiful display on the front, so you can see your album art, all your metadata. So high-performance DAC in it, high-performance analog line stage in it, phono preamp in it, eARC input on it, dual sub-outs on it, Dirac ready. So if you want to calibrate it, you can do that with it. So it's a super, super high performance 2-channel product, but it's got some cool features in it.
That's a great price.
Yeah, $3,500 for it. So this one's 120 watts of G-class power, so it's a pretty capable amplifier. The other one is the SA45 is a step up. It goes to 180 watts of G-class power. That's a $5,000 integrated. Has all the same features of this, but it's balanced circuitry. So you got XLR capabilities.
Is that a touchscreen too?
No, not a touchscreen.
Oh, okay.
So, no.
All right.
Because you don't want your greasy fingerprints all over these things, right? Well, I mean, the goal is to be able to look at it, see it from across the room, you know. But,
yeah, no, nice big display. No,
yeah.
This is great. I think this is a great price point for all of the features that.
Yeah, it's a killer unit, right? So these are going into production just right here at the end of the year. So
I'm sorry, did you say, is there a room correction? Is Dirac in there or not?
Yeah, Dirac ready. Yep.
Dirac ready. What does that mean?
Yeah, you have to buy the license. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so add another 300 or whatever.
Yeah, depending on what license you want to do. Actually, I think they just dropped to 249. 249 now is the license that you can get for the basic Dirac Live. Yeah. So if you want to do it, you can. And again, the HDMI ARCAM put in there. So there's still a lot of people, you know, a great sounding 2-channel rig is still a good audio system for video. And it will certainly outperform a bad surround system. So if you're really more into listening to music and things like that, this is the way to do it. Or if some of your streaming content, of course, we can do everything here, right? This has wired and wireless networking on it. So I can do direct with it. It's a Roon-ready product. I can do AirPlay, Chromecast, Spotify Connect,
AirPlay's
Tidal Connect. Everything's in here for that, right? And as soon as Qobuz Connect comes out, that'll be on here as well. So if you were doing that, you could do it. But if you were using your smart TV for streaming, I could still feed the HDMI output into this and still run all my streaming content through there.
Sure.
Or just go straight off my mobile device right into it. These also have 2-way Bluetooth on them.
Oh, is it a trans?
Yeah, so we've updated them since this video was made a couple of months ago, so we're actually now updating the Bluetooth, but these will be Bluetooth 5.4, so they have Auracast on them, but it's also 2-way Bluetooth. So I can pair a mobile device as a source, but I could also pair a headphone and do private listening on it if I wanted to do that as well. We also have that 2-way Bluetooth feature on the MAs, on the HP receivers that we listen in another room. So same thing on that receiver we saw in the last room. Pair your phone as a source or pair your headphones when your roommate doesn't want to hear whatever it is that you're listening to. So you can have a private listening session. Or late at night, you don't want to bother the neighbors or anything like that, you can listen on headphones with it.
Late at night meaning like even if you're watching television, you can Bluetooth
Sure.
the audio?
Yeah, if you wanted to, because you can Bluetooth right off the receiver. Or in this case, the integrated amplifier. Yeah. So now that the phase 2 part will be out of this, so there's 8 models in the Radia hi-fi range. Those are the first 2 parts of the range. The rest of the AV products and ARCAM are still the HDA series that we've had for a little while now. So we are demonstrating those around the corner with some Revel. We have beryllium in walls that we're demonstrating with that processor and a 7-channel amplifier. So
And phase 3 is going to happen when?
early 2026, most likely. So, yep. We got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
Yep. Because these are really 2025 products. They're coming right here at the end of the year, but they're 2025 products. Yep. It's got an amazing feature set on it. The G-Class amp, which is not proprietary, but fairly unique to us, is an amazing sounding amplifier. So you get the benefits of a lot of Class A amplifier in terms of the sound quality and the low distortion that you can get out of it, but you get the current capability that when you need it. So there's 2 sets of rails and a power supply basically. So in G-Class, we get the advantage of a higher power amp platform in it, but with some of the sonic performance that we'd have out of a Class A, which is typically a very inefficient design from an amplifier standpoint. So we introduced these at CEDIA last year. This is the 226, which is the middle of the 3 end walls that we have. And it uses all the same beryllium technology that's in those floor standers that came out of the box product side of our range. So this, as a very close approximation to the 226 floor stand over there, that's a 3-way design with a dedicated mid-range. And we're just using 2 6s with our beryllium tweeter and our acoustic lens waveguide. We have a single 6-inch that's the in-wall starting point. Then you go to this, which can work as an LCR. So we're using it as a center channel here. This is a 3.1 set up here at the show. And then we have a bigger dual 8-inch 3-way system that we do. That's the flagship of that. And we make a beryllium in ceiling speaker that's an 8-inch 2-way. So that's the flagship of what we do in the Revel architectural range. And then from there, you drop down 7 series, 5 series, 3 series, all the way down to 2 series, which is where we start. So we're showing that with ARCAM separates, 7-channel power amp, G-class power amp, and then our AV41 is our 16-channel processor. And we've got one of the Revel 10-inch subs there. So this is configured as a 3.1, but right now we're doing 2-channel music with Rune as the source. So we're just playing music on it because a lot of people wanted to hear what they sounded like with music. So yeah, that's cool stuff. All available now. So this one we're driving with an ARCAM AVR. This is the AVR 31, which is our G-class, top of the range in the AVR range. So that is driving the left and right main channel speakers, which are C83s from our Conceal series, JBL invisible loudspeakers. Then we've got a dedicated JBL amplifier that's got the proper EQ that's running the subwoofers, which are the C82W. So we're showing a 2-channel system here. Again, the full range speaker above, the subwoofer below. We're showing graphically on this side how it looks when you do it, as how you tack the speakers into the stud frame construction on it. And then on this side, we're showing it graphically as a finished wall. Because these basically install like a drywall patch, and you sand and paint them and they would completely disappear. So the left side here is showing what it would look like. It's a fabric panel, but basically the speaker would completely disappear into the wall, and you get a chance to hear what that sounds like there. So unless you're handy at doing some tape and spackle and sanding and whatnot, you're probably going to have someone install these for you. Cool. There you go. That's what we got.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Jim.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate it.